Good morning, my dear children. Sairam. Hope you all are fine. Welcome back, children, in English online class. Today we will going to discuss a topic from English composition, that is story writing. See, children, previous earlier we have already discussed picture composition, right? I hope you all remember. So story writing and picture composition are very similar. Okay, it is very similar. So you should know what is story writing. See, children, you all like to read story books, right? You all like to read story books. Some likes to read fairy tale stories or adventurous stories or comic books, right? So story is basically a narrating of real or imaginary events, right? Story can be real. Okay, sometimes, for example, the chapter which you have earlier read, right? A Walk on the Moon, that story was a real story, right? Real story. Then some stories are imaginary events. That means it is written, the person who has written the story, he wrote it in a, he just imagined things, imagined events, and then he wrote the story. So a story is basically a narrating of real or imaginary events. You always narrate the story, right, involving real or imaginary people. If the story is about a real life experience, real life events, then obviously the people will people, or you can say the character, will be real, right? Or if it will be the imaginary one, then the character will also be the imaginary people, right? Imaginary characters. So a story needs to be represented in words necessarily. Okay, even images or moving pictures, that is movies, right? Um, the movies which we see, all the movies have some stories, they have different characters, right? So in the same way, story can be in the form of image or in the form of moving pictures, that is movies. They can also they that can also narrate a story. Okay, whether it is in an image form or a moving picture form, that can also narrate a story. So a story is generally designed to entertain, right? The movies which you see, some movies give some message, right? Or some movies are just for entertainment. In the same way, some books give some message, right? Or some are for just for only entertainment. So a story is generally designed to entertain and or send a message across. So a story is basically a narrating of real or imaginary events, including real or imaginary people. A story needs to be represented in words necessarily, even images or moving pictures. That means uh, only words are not used for narrating stories. Images can also work and moving pictures can also work, that can also narrate a story. And story is generally designed to entertain or send a message across, okay. Now story, see, let's see now what are how the structure or format of a story must be. While there is no given format as such for story writing, okay, there is no specific format, for a systematic format for writing a story. So there is a basic structure one can follow. It helps construct a story in an understandable manner and keeps the flow of the story. That means no specific or systematic format is there for writing a story. Okay, it can be written in a basic structure form only. Okay, now let's see, children, in story also three parts are there. That is the beginning. Okay, the beginning or the introduction of a story. Like, for example, once upon a time, long time ago, that is a beginning, right? Beginning or the introduction of a story is of essential importance because it is telling that from where the story has been started. Okay, this is the part where you can hook the reader and can capture their attention. So your introduction, your beginning should be strong. Okay, it should be very strong. The whatever you are trying to portray or you are trying to narrate, it should be very attractive. Okay, it should seek the attention of the reader. So the beginning or the introduction of a story is of essential importance. This is the part where you can hook the reader and capture their attention. Now the second part is plot. Okay, plot, or you can say the middle part of the story. So here is where the actual narration of the story will happen. After some introduction from the plot or from the middle part is where the actual narration of the story will happen. The actual event, the actual things will be happened here. Okay, the events you will write here. The events that occur or the description of a situation will be written in the plot. So, in the plot or in the middle section, here the actual narration of the story will happen. The events that occur or the description of the situation will be written in the plot. A plot must always have a conflict, which is the focus of any story. Okay, so whatever the main event, main happening, you have to write here in the middle part of the story. Okay, now at last comes climax or conclusion, or you can say the end of the story, and this is where the story will come to its logical conclusion. If there is a plot twist, this is where you will include it in the climax. Okay, in the conclusion, always end your story in an interesting manner. Okay, beginning should also be interesting, as well as the end, the conclusion or the climax should also be interesting. Okay, so these are the three main parts of the story. Okay, while writing story, you have to take care of all these things, of the beginning, plot, and the climax or conclusion. Right, children? Now I hope till here it is clear to you all. Now, what are the points which you have to remember while writing the story? Okay, first you have to, since we are doing outline story writing, in which the pictures will be given to you and then some hints will also be provided to you. Okay, given to you, then seeing the picture and the hints, you have to write the story. So what are the points which you have to remember is, first you have to observe the picture very carefully. Okay, you have to observe the picture very carefully and read the given outline carefully. Okay, the hint, the outline which will be given to you, you have to read it very carefully, and the picture you have to observe very carefully. Right, children? Now note all the points. Whatever you are seeing in the picture, the characters, the scene, whatever you are seeing in the picture, what characters are doing, every small little detail you have to note it down. Okay, you have to note it down. Right, then you have to follow as strictly as possible the picture provided. That means the picture which has been given to you, the picture which has been shown to you, you have to follow that picture. Okay, you have to make story related to that picture only. You cannot make your own story. Okay, children, it should be related to the picture only. Then be careful to connect the various points given in the outline. That means the outline which will be given to you while writing the story, you have to connect those outlines with your stories very carefully. Okay, that means it should convey the meaning. Okay, it should not look incomplete, it should be completed. Okay, children? Now, the conclusion or ending of a story should be striking and interesting. As I have told you, introduction as well as the conclusion or ending of a story, it should be very striking and interesting. It should attract the reader. Okay, it should attract the reader. Now write story in past tense. You always write story in past tense. Okay, the event which has already happened, we always write about that, not for future. Okay, children? Now give suitable title to the story. Okay, while writing story, it is very important to give a suitable title, a very interesting and attractive title, so that it hook the reader, that they feel after reading the title they must feel like they have to read this story. So your title should be very attractive. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so according to that picture, you have to give a suitable title to the story. You may name it after the main character, object, or incident of the story. That means the title which you are giving, it should be related to the story only. Okay, then revise your writing and remove all mistakes in spelling. Whilst writing story, you have to take care of your spellings, grammar, punctuation, etc. You should know where you have to put punctuation marks. Your grammatically your statement should be correct, your spelling should be correct. So these are some points which you have to keep in mind while writing story. First, you have to observe the picture carefully and read the given outline carefully. Then you have to note it down all the points which you are seeing in the picture, each and every little detail. Then you have to follow the picture which has been provided to you. You have to write story related to that picture only. Be careful to connect. That means the outlines which has given to you, when you are connecting those outlines, it should convey the meaning, proper meaning, and it should be complete. Okay, then conclusion or ending of a story should be very striking and interesting. You have to write story in past tense, and you have to give suitable title to this story. Okay, that title should also be related to this story. Okay, you can consider a main character, object, or incident of the story while giving this title. Then you have to take care of your spellings, grammatical mistakes, and punctuation. Okay, so these are some points which you have to keep in mind while writing story. Now let's see. Okay, children, now here you can see 4 pictures, right? In the first picture, crow is looking at the picture, right? Now in the second picture, you can see crow is trying to drink the water from the pitcher, right? In the third picture, you can see that crow is throwing the stone inside the pitcher, and in the last picture, you can see that crow is able to drink the water from the pitcher. Now let's see the outline. Here, this is the outline of the story. Now, there lived a crow in. One day he was very thirsty. Flew here and there in search. He saw a pitcher. At the bottom of that pitcher, some pebbles. Thought a plan. Threw pebbles into pitcher. Came up, quenched his thirst, flew away. So, first, observe the picture very carefully. Look at the each and every little detailing. Then read the outline very carefully. Now let's write the story here. First, I have given the suitable title. Okay, now let's read. Later we will talk about title. Let's read now. Once there was a crow. He was very thirsty. He went here and there in search of water, but he could not find it anywhere. At last, he went in a garden. There he saw picture of water. The water level was very low. The crow could not drink it. He began to think a plan. He saw some pebbles at a distance. He picked them up. Then he dropped them into the pitcher. The level of water came up. Then the crow could drink the water. Okay. So, looking at the picture, right? Then reading the outline carefully, we have written the story. I have written this story, right? Now, children, what is the moral of this story is, where there is will, there is a way. That means, if at first crow found that pitcher in the garden, right? Water is also there, but he was not able to drink that water because he was not able to reach there. Then he just thought, if he could not reach there, he must have give it up. Then he thought, okay, no, I cannot give up. I am very thirsty. I have to drink water. So he thought a plan. Then he sees some pebbles, that is small stones in the garden. Then he picked that stone, he threw it inside the pitcher, and slowly the level of the water came up. And that is how he was able to drink the water. That is the moral of the story is, where there is a will, there is a way. That means we should never give up. Okay? We should never give up. If you are in any problem, in any situation, you should never give up. You should try to find different ways, different plans to solve the problem. Okay, so where there is a will, there is a way. So what is the title of the story? A thirsty crow. A thirsty crow, right? So children, this is how you have to do story writing. Okay, so children, in PDF form I will give you one assignment related to this topic. Okay, so children, go through the video again. Okay, while writing, consider, take care of those points which I have told you. Okay children, Sai Ram.